What is going on, guys? Rob Satch from Feedbackwrench. You know, we do web design, we help small businesses, and I got something for you. It's 2022 right now, and if you're about to work with a digital marketing company, if you're about to work with a web design company or somebody who's going to help you out in the digital space, I just want to give you a couple of tips. Okay, like genuinely, I'd love you to work with us, but we got tons of clients, things are going on well, but I'm just reminded over and over again about how many digital marketing companies are not set up in a way so that it's a good solution for you over the long run. So I want to talk about a couple of things to be on the lookout. And really what happens is customers are with one agency, they have huge promises, we're going to blow it up for you. And then all of a sudden they're not frank about it and you don't get those results. This is particularly true when you hire an SEO company that convinces you if they create keyword stuffed nonsense on your website, suddenly you're going to get a ton of sales. And then what happens is they don't provide the right framework for what that's actually going to happen. And then you don't get sales. And then you get upset with them and then you call me. And I walk you through our approach to actually get sales and what's the predictable manner to keep your sales funnel full, right? So that's what happens. And I have all of these customers coming in. They leave their old firm and they come with us. And here are some things that people don't often think about when they're working with another firm. So first off, if anybody comes in and starts providing you a solution that SEO is the answer, that Google Ads is the answer, that you need to convert from WordPress to Webflow, or you need to use Wix or whatever that is, they get right into the solution without talking about who your customer is and what your business is, and like walking through the basics of how is a customer actually going to find you, run for the hills. Means that they don't understand the core aspects of business. Too many digital entrepreneurs out there, they know how to build a certain kind of website. They know how to run a certain kind of ad. And what they do is they run around with that mallet and they hit everything with it. This is all about your customer. This is all about your customer finding you as a solution to your problem. So I just want to frame this up. If somebody is not approaching this from a customer first standpoint and saying, how is it that we can position you as a guide, you as a company, as a guide to help this customer? Your customer is the hero, not you. And you should not be taking websites and cramming them full of copywriting that's meant directly for search engines. You should be writing to that customer. So that's the first thing right off the bat. Number two, I want to talk a little bit about, are you going to own your stuff? Okay. Are you going to own your website? Not only are you going to own your website, but are you going to own the Google Tag Manager account that has all the conversions in it? Are you going to own your Facebook business pixel, your Facebook business account? Because what happens is we install this Facebook pixel, which is the tracking code for Facebook, onto your website. And all of the data about your website traffic and all the people who click on your account gets stored to that. If you don't have full-fledged, full access to that website, or to that Facebook pixel and business manager account, that's a red flag. If they start setting up additional Google My Businesses for you and not focusing on keeping one and giving it to you, that's a red flag. If they take and set up their own Google Analytics, their own Google Ads account, and their own Google Tag Manager, those three accounts are critical. And what they say is that they don't hand that over to you when you're done. They don't add you as a full admin and equip you to own that sucker. That's a red flag. Because here's what happens. These people create all sorts of ads. They run things for you. They get all of your remarketing audiences filled up in that Google Ads account, Google My Business account. And then when you switch from them, they take it away from you. And then what happens is they drag their feet and they're absolute snots about helping you out. Another red flag, if they buy your domain from you and don't hand it over to you right away, that's a red flag. If they insist on building a website in their own proprietary system, that's a red flag, because one of the things, now we build in Webflow, and I recommend Webflow above all else. I think that is the absolute creme de la creme in terms of simplicity, ease. Now, it's not for every solution. There's a lot of e-commerce solutions where it might not be the right fit. But when it comes to a good functional website that you own everything, that's what you should be looking for. That's the other thing. When we work with people, we make sure that if you have your entire website, all that content is 100% yours. Ask, if you leave this organization once they build a website for you, where does the rubber hit the road? Are they going to take that from you? Because one of the things that people don't understand is that a lot of times, especially in WordPress, people will build this exquisite WordPress website out for you. It takes a long time. But what they don't tell you is that they have a ton of premium plugins that are in there. And those premium plugins and those premium systems and premium themes are registered under that web design company. Ask them, what happens if I end my relationship with you? And a lot of times what happens is they nuke that license agreement and all of a sudden your website doesn't work. They might glaze over that, but you'll want to know that. Here's another little tip. If they're building in WordPress, especially because WordPress is huge. I don't like WordPress. I don't recommend it at all. I think it's messy. There's a ton of security problems. You can certainly find high protein, really good WordPress websites out there for sure. But the dirty little secret is that you have to have this stack of development tools in order to have it. And that's usually proprietary or owned by and licensed by that firm. And so here's my little tip here. WordPress is only as good as the actual development tool that they make it. Now we build in Webflow, and Webflow outputs clean CSS and HTML that actually technically could be, but I don't recommend it, hosted anywhere. You could take that out. In fact, you can build other things with this. But if you use like a WordPress builder like Divi or Elementor or even Beaver Builder, sure, they make it kind of easy to do a visual builder, but what they don't tell you is if you ever try to convert that over to some other system in the future, because you don't know what's going to happen 8 years from now, guess what happens? The whole thing is wrapped in this goofy write-up and it can't convert over cleanly. That'd be the other thing. If you're ever blogging, make sure that your blogs can easily be exported. This is notorious in the real estate space. You sign up with Chime or Conversion, Boomtown, Real Geeks, all these different website solutions out there, and you write blog posts. And then what happens is if you ever decide to switch brokerages and all of a sudden you get that discount is no longer there and you have to pay for it yourself, you're like, holy cows, that's expensive. Can the blog post be exported cleanly and easily? And then when you do blogging is important for content, but when you do blog, what I don't recommend is that you write it in like the actual visual builder. That's a fail. If your company is starting to mark up all sorts of blog posts and using a visual builder, what's going to happen is if you ever want to change direction or course, which it is technology, you're going to want to change, you're high and dry and you end up having to go through a ton of work. So these are important things to wonder about. Are you going to get the full accounts handed to you when you're done? Are they going to build in something proprietary? And if you switch, what happens with that? The other thing that I would ask is like, if you hire maybe a new copywriter, maybe a new SEO team or somebody else, do they play nice with other people? You know, that's a huge deal. If they're not playing nice with like I work with some folks who they already have a website and we do a lot of running their Google ads and their remarketing campaigns. But if that other team is really close-fisted with it and they see everybody as a threat, that's a red flag because they should know what they do well and they should be open with collaborating with people to do other aspects better. So again, let's just ask again, are you going to get your full Google Ads account, Google Tag Manager account, your Google My Business, your Google Analytics account? Because all of that setup, if you have to redo that, costs dearly. They should be handing you and adding you as a full admin, probably warning you not to mess with it, but handing that over to you. You shouldn't get that reset if they leave, right? That's a big deal. The Google Ad account better be yours because you're going to build up to 540 days with the remarketing audiences in your Google Ad account, in your Google Analytics account, in your Facebook is up to 150. Those ad account remarketing lists, that's a thing you should own. So they should not be building their own little sub account and not handing it over to you. It should just come to you. There should be no games there. When they build a website, you should ask them and just find out, what are you building this in? And they're always going to be like, oh, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal because oftentimes they set a bad expectation. As they move on, you find out that you've been built in this really cockamamie system, right? So find out what happens to the theme. Do I have to pay for another theme? Do you kind of take the admin rights? Do you nuke the whole site? How does it get handed over to me if I actually want it? Now, that being said, you probably suck at web design. You probably should not be in there destroying all the margins and the padding and stuff like that. We serve as designer. We usually equip you as an editor, but those are all red flags that you should be on the lookout. And then the other thing is just remember, a ton of these guys are like, I'm all in for web design. And a web designer runs around and hits every problem with the web design hammer. SEO folks are like, I'm convinced that SEO is so much better than paid advertising. And paid advertising is just giving money to the big tech oligarchs. It's like, yeah, but if you want consistent growth, you got to consider both. If they hit everything with an SEO hammer, run away, because it's not just all about SEO and it's not all about web design. And if they come to you and they're all about keyword planning and Google Ads entirely, and they don't talk to you about sales, copywriting, and optimizing your website so that people actually see you as credible and trustworthy and as an authority, and that it's clean and that it actually moves you, don't work with them. If they're running around and they're just lever pulling either SEO, web design, or paid advertising, and they're neglecting your messaging and your strategy and your customer and all that, run for the hills. It needs to be a well-integrated system. Anyways, good luck. God bless. I hope your business thrives, man. I really hope that this is a great year for you. Give us a call. Go to feedbackwrench.com. We'd love an opportunity to help you.